And I feel like you've equipped us, you've armed us to guide us along this journey, and we're armed with those 10-year rules. And so really, and thank you so much for sharing with us today, Helen, for joining us and really arming us with that information and inviting everyone on the call to head off and apply and leverage that agency that we can use to actually help support change and transformation. Truly an amazing presentation, Helen.
No, thank you. And I really wish you, the very best. I'm humbled by the things that you are doing, and just all these small activities that add up to really, really big change. So I just wish you a fabulous day. And,
thank you
goodbye.
So much, Helen.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Truly an inspiration, and thank you for joining us today, Helen. Hopefully we'll see you in person soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I hope so. Bye.
Take care. As we start on this journey, it was incredible to hear Helen. We've got this wonderful food for thought. When we think about the 10 rules for change, when we think about our role of agency, it seems so appropriate to move into our next speaker. Kerry Campbell is definitely acting with agency as we look at her role as the leader for quality, patient safety, and accreditation with BC Emergency Health Services. BC Emergency Health Services, with Kerry's leadership, have been superstars in the Change Day campaign, really blowing us away with their activities. If you've been watching Twitter, creative uses of who doesn't like Ryan Gosling in a tweet about Change Day, really blowing us away with some incredible activities and action around Change Day. So we can't wait to hear more about some of the engagement strategies that Kerry's used as she's moved along her Change Day journey with her team at BCEHS. So welcome, Kerry. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly, Kerry. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So I might need, do I have the ability to click through? Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Kerry Campbell, and I work for BC Emergency Health Services as their leader in quality, patient safety, and accreditation. And I was asked to be here today to talk about engagement strategies for positive change. So what EHS has done throughout this campaign, and I mean, I had no idea when I signed up that I was going to follow Jim and Helen. So I have some big shoes to fill. So let's go through this. So first off, who is BC Emergency Health Services? So we are a provincial organization of over 4,600 employees. We're made up of paramedics, call takers, dispatchers, our community paramedics in rural and remote BC. And we have an unbelievable management and administrative staff who support these frontline operations. And we provide emergency pre-hospital patient care and interfacility transfers across BC. And in order to do this, we have 183 ambulance stations, 3 aircraft bases, and 3 dispatch operations centers. And just on the 911 side, we receive over 500,000 calls a year. So we are quite busy. So the question becomes, why did we want to participate? This was the first year that BCEHS joined as a partner alliance member. And as many of you guys know on this celebration, Change Day is about driving change and improvement across the health system. And we internally are transforming the way we go about our business. And we are trying to work through many different programs and projects to improve the way we respond and serve our communities. And so it just made sense. We wanted to participate to support the positive impact to BC's healthcare. So there was several strategies that we used to engage staff, and they fit into 4 major steps. So the first was to build awareness about Change Day. Many people hadn't even heard of Change Day before this year. So building that awareness, then aligning the why of Change Day with the why of our staff. This was a really important one for us. And then, of course, engaging everybody. And the strategies coming up will go through how we did that. and then just to get them mobilized to action their pledges was another step to that. So there were 6 things that we did to achieve this and to spread Change Day. So the first was to get endorsement from senior leadership and our quality council members. The second was to align the why of BCEHS to the why of Change Day. The third was to engage staff where they work. The fourth, anyone who's following myself or EHS on Twitter knows that we communicated a lot via Twitter and using photos. No campaign would be complete without some friendly competitions and prizes. And then lastly, we kept it simple. So now I'm going to dive into each of these. So the first strategy actually came out of a recommendation from the kickoff webinar in the summer for Change Day, and that was to get the endorsement from senior leadership. So we got endorsement from our quality council members, and by getting them on board, they were able to take Change Day, the purpose, the messaging of Change Day to their respective teams and trickle down that message. We took advantage of our annual leaders forum to capture a bunch of our leaders in one room, and I think that was mid-October, so if you saw us on Twitter then, we were cornering all our leaders to pledge. And I heard from several people that by seeing photos of, Bard Fitzsimmons, our COO, pledging, holding her pledge, sharing her pledge on Twitter, it inspired people to do the same. The second strategy was to align the why of our organization to the why of Change Day. There's lots of campaigns, there's lots of messages and initiatives going on, but if you can really bring it back to why we do what we do, why everyone is excited about healthcare, why people want to improve patient care, it's quite unbelievable to see the types of conversations and pledges that can come from that. So these are the 5 PHSA and BCEHS values: to respect people, to be compassionate, to dare to innovate, cultivating partnerships, and to serve with purpose. And so we found that when we engaged staff and they didn't know really what to pledge, we brought them back to these values. And if you go on the Change Day gallery and search for BC Emergency Health Services, you'll see that so many of our pledges hit 1 or 2 or 3 of these values. And so it really allowed us to get some cool pledges out of our staff. The third strategy, which was one of my favorite strategies, was to engage people where they work, their environment. So I crashed dispatch supervisor meetings. We had all of our quality leaders go out to emergency departments just to engage people in their space. It's often so easy to, put up posters and, go around to everyone's cubicles or offices in an office. But that doesn't work for our organization. You have to get out there. And what we found even more beneficial is to give our unit chiefs and our district managers prizes, swag, so that they could talk to their staff and their colleagues on a level that worked for them, instead of us pushing the message down, which doesn't land too far. And I want to just point out Rachel in the corner here. She's one of our community paramedics and acting unit chief, and she got her entire staff to pledge in Ucluelet. And so she was a frontline champion from the get-go. The fourth strategy we used was to communicate using pictures and via social media. Our preferred platform was Twitter, as hopefully some of you guys have seen, and we created the hashtag ChangeDayBCEHS just to pull out what our staff were saying to make sure we didn't miss pledges. So that was how we captured those pledges. And I mean, what was so great is everyone from, this is my director, Jessica Javen, to our quality leaders, to managers, to myself. Everyone was tweeting, and we had such a great support network from our BCHS communications team. And I know not every health authority is so pro-social media, but we were really fortunate to be able to do that. And I had a lot of fun tweeting throughout these months. And of course, we actually even had the council's ED, Christina Kraus, action her pledge with EHS, and that was captured on Twitter. And we heard it held people accountable when they had photos or a post of their pledge. I know Kevin Smith from the council, he said that when you add photos to your post, you get 50% more viewership. And I don't know if he made up that stat, but we went with it. And it was really fun to see. We had a campaign, I think a week ago now, that came out of a conversation with a colleague where we were going to put Change Day, promoting Change Day, make a little spin or put a little spin to it. So we had Be Like tweets. Of course, everyone wants to be like Beyonce. She made a Change Day pledge. You should too. Same with George Clooney, The Rock, Jimmy and Ryan, the Spice Girls, and Taylor Swift. Same day as her album dropped, she's promoting Change Day. So she was very busy on Friday. And so that was really fun. And of course, using photos, we brought up out of, I think it was a Partnership Alliance meeting, we had the idea to do a Wall of Fame. So this was our sticky notes galore Wall of Fame at our island office in Keating, where people could just go write pledges. They could take a sticky, they could see what other people were pledging. And we had the Walls of Fame here in Vancouver. And I mean, these photos are probably a week old now, and it's just expanded as we're on our last push this week. And it's been really fun to come in after lunch or at the start of the day and just see people standing there and seeing people they respect having a pledge, wanting to know how do they get on this wall? What can they do? And it's just so colorful. I mean, they did such a great job with the promotional material this year. So yeah, our Wall of Fame quickly became Walls of Fame. Our fifth strategy was friendly competition and prizes. Anyone who knows EHS staff know we are very competitive. So throw in a competition, add some prizes, layer in some bragging rights, and hold on. So a great example of this was our participation in the Change Quest at the end of September, early October. And this was one of our one of our first formal pushes for Change Day. And that showed that this wasn't just a campaign that you just filled out a pledge. Like, it could be fun and you could get teams involved. So our staff had a lot of fun doing these. This is Noreen Park. She's one of our district managers in the Fraser Caribou area. And she is not only a champion at EHS, but she took Change Day to heart. And she has, the video was just released today of her and her unit chief. She went around all over and got pledges, and so she was a major driver for us. She should just be her own engagement strategy, I've decided. Just seventh one, Noreen Park. And so we had a lot of fun, and in the end, we got first, which was a great way to promote Change Day further. And out of that we got some prizes for that, as well as we gave away gift cards from September till now. Prize packs, T-shirts, coffee gift cards. Our staff love coffee, so that was a good incentive in and of itself. And it just gave a little bit extra motivation for people to pledge. One that is currently still up for grabs is our grand prize for the an all-expense-paid trip to the 2018 Quality Forum. Anyone who's been to the forum knows how unbelievable this event is, and what we did was we layered or aligned Patient Safety Week and Change Day together. 2 initiatives, similar message, all aligning to our why. So anyone who's pledged to either improve or continue to provide high-quality patient care throughout this whole campaign from EHS will go into this draw. So anyone from EHS listening in on this celebration, get those pledges in. Still competing against Interior right now, so get those pledges in. So the last one, keep it simple, silly. Healthcare is crazy. There is so many updates, so many initiatives, so many demands put on our staff, and Change Day for us was, again, we aligned it back to the why, but we had to keep it simple because our staff are very, very busy. And so we took several of the strategies I just talked about and made it easy. So I joke, but anything, like even a carrier pigeon could have delivered a pledge during the campaign. We had a booth outside at lunches. We had Twitter, we had email, we had text, anything. So you couldn't, there was no excuse. We aligned healthcare initiatives. So, of course, like I just said, Change Day and Patient Safety Week just made sense to us. We made it fun, and we brought out people's competitive spirits. And again, we had multiple opportunities to participate and went to the emergency departments, up to dispatch, and offered prizes, which why not, right? And we walked the talk. I think I mentioned this at another webinar, but my colleague who sits across from me, she joked, because if you came into my office, you were not leaving without pledging or having a pledge card. So any conversation, anytime we could have a conversation, we did, and all of the quality leaders and our management staff were really, really good about that. And what was the result? So all this to be said, we had over, well, this slide's a few days old, but we have over 200 pledges right now. I just said we're neck and neck with Interior, so we're coming for you guys. Competitive spirit, I warned you. So we have over 200 pledges right now. We got first place for the Goose Chase Scavenger Hunt. We had a Twitter reach of over 10,000 and Twitter impressions of over 13,000 through our Change Day BCHS hashtag. And what was really fun was the countless inspiring conversations and stories that we got to have, that we had an excuse to have by going out and promoting Change Day. Here are just some of the inspiring pledges that came through our door. I can't go through them all. I don't have all the time, but there were so many people that showed up, and I mean, we got 199 more pledges than I thought we were going to get. So I was pretty happy with the turnout. We even had one of our therapy dogs, Abby, participate, which is always great. And I just wanted to quickly share my pledge, just to hold me accountable. So my pledge was to regularly job shadow our unbelievable paramedics, dispatchers, call takers, to understand how the opioid crisis is impacting their mental well-being. And I did a ride-along a month ago, and I went upstairs and double-plugged yesterday. And it was a really great eye-opening experience. Through the conversations, I was amazed to hear some of the judgment calls and ethical decisions that they had to make on a day-to-day basis to save as many people's lives as they could who were overdosing. And I mean, it was just an unbelievable experience and very eye-opening, and I continue to take my hats off to our crews. So I'm really happy that that was my pledge, because it gave me the opportunity to have those conversations. What was the impact? So the impact to BC Emergency Health Services in our first year as being partners was it provided staff with the ability to choose what change they wanted to be a part of. Oftentimes, change is inevitable. It comes at us. You either take it and run with it, or, you know, hide and like run and hide. And so this was like a change, a type of change they could be a part of, and they could choose. It gave us the opportunity, like I said, to have conversations with people we may not have been able to before, or to learn about other teams and what they're doing. And it truly demonstrated how single individuals and teams can have a massive and positive impact on the system. And I think moving forward in reflection, the hope is that all those that pledged, all those that heard about Change Day will continue to action their pledge and also be inspired to commit ongoing acts of change. It doesn't take much at all, and I think this was a great way to show that. Before I wrap up, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Patient Safety and Quality Council and the team that ran Change Day BC. Anyone who's participated or in Change Day or worked with the council knows, you know, the support, any requests, any time of the day, they were there. So I just want to thank you guys. The campaign wouldn't have been nearly as successful without all of your guys' work and hustle. And yeah, I guess that's the end of my presentation, and I think we'll open it up to questions.
All right. So just giving it a couple seconds. I know there's so many comments going on in the comments field here, Kerry. You know, just the incredible energy you had in the system, and hearing about the power of choosing a pledge and encouraging people to choose a pledge about something they're passionate about. And really loved hearing about the engagement strategies that you leveraged along the way. And we're just going to invite people to pop any questions they have in the chat box, or put your hand up if you have a question, and we'll just watch that. We can always unmute your line. So you leveraged a number of engagement strategies, Kerry, throughout the campaign, getting right to where people work, aligning with why, you know, all those different strategies. Do you feel like there was one or two that were like the superstars for you and your organization, or was it that complete mix that really made the difference?
You know what, I think there was two for me that really stood out. So the first was the competition and the energy around our Twitter presence. I think that made it really fun for people, and it allowed people to challenge their friends on Twitter, again, holding them accountable. I think reflecting back, the most powerful thing was to engage our staff, our unit chiefs, and our district managers to share that message. I am by no means have a paramedic background. I don't know what lands with staff better than their peers and their managers. And so I don't think this campaign would have been it wouldn't have landed as it did if it wasn't for our superstars out in the field.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kerry Ann. And there's a ton of comments in the chat box right now, but really it was just a pleasure to have you as a partner for that campaign. And we could never reach across the province with Change Day. It's a partnership, and all those people who touched it, and really appreciate you being both our partner in Change Day and one of the ambassadors. Just the energy and enthusiasm was a pleasure to watch all the way through. So thank you so much for joining us today and hearing about some of that passion.